Hello students, good evening to all of you. Yes, already many are there. Channavasappa Patel, Neha, Deepa Kalburgi, Dhatri, then Napita, Kirtana, Prakriti, Sashi, Tanuj. Right? Already many of you are here. Okay, let me see what you are wanting. Okay, good evening, Kirtana, Sakshi. Good evening, one and all. Good evening. We have still time left. So what all we discussed in the last class, it's like a bridging the course, right? We have learned something what is connecting you from the school, high school level to the college level. Okay, we are learning that, and I even want to do some more classes like that so that I can understand how much you are going or how much you have studied already in your 8th, 9th, 10th classes. Okay, fine then. So last class I was giving you something about botany, right? I remember. Do you have a note with you? Have you noted it down? I think Napita and all they noted it down that day. Yes. What was that? Yeah, correct. Napita said. What was the thing I left at the end? We closed it with one particular thing, na? What was that we finished with? Okay. It was about the acidity we discussed, right? So today I will give you a choice. We will talk about botany portions or zoology portions. It means human physiology or plant physiology. Let's think about it. Let me see how many of you want particular subject. Zoology, Khushi is saying zoology, human physiology, right? Zoology, many are saying human physiology. Okay, that's fine then. So some are saying botany also. Yeah, Neha is saying botany. Okay, in between we'll discuss that also, fine. Because suppose something connected things appear, we will talk about botany also, fine. Okay, so let us start the subject, because the one which is important for your medical thing and all, it is about human physiology, right? Human physiology is more connected to human functioning of human body, right? How exactly humans will digest the food, how exactly humans will circulate the blood, and then nutritions, what are the nutrition deficiency problems, everything we are going to discuss. Okay, so let me give you the digestive system. Last class, did we draw digestive system in humans anytime? Did we draw it once? No, we didn't, right? So I'll give you the drawing and you can answer to that. Anyway, before that, the things, other things, because still we have some more time. What we'll do is, till all of them they appear and they get locked in, we will talk something about the digestive activities in human digestive system. Do you know, is there any type of organ which is non-functional? Yeah, I remember respiratory system was given. Do you remember any organ that is not functioning? Appendix. Good, Dhatri, you said it right. It is appendix, vermiform appendix. What is its function actually in other animals? Humans is not working, fine. Fine then. What about the functions of appendix in other animals? There will be some other function. It contains some good bacteria. Digestion of cellulose is right. Napita is right. It helps in digestion of cellulose. That is the cud chewing animals, right? Like we have cow and sheep and all. It will be helping in cellulose digestion. They are herbivores. Okay. What do we call such organs which are non-functional in one organism, functional in other organisms? What do we call them? What do we say about those organs? Those organs which are non-functional in humans, but they are functional in some other animals. What do we call such organs? Anybody? You know it or you don't know it? Do you know it? If no, no, you say it no. I'll just explain you. Any organs, any of human organs, they are not functional, but they are present. Yes, good, Khushi. It is vestigial organ. So what are the vestigial organs humans have? Actually, good. appendix. Vestigial organs are the organs that have no function, but they are present, right? One is ear pinna. Nabita said it correct. Kushi also said it, ear pinna. These external ear pinna, they are non-functional in humans. But in other animals, are they useful? Other animals like cats, dogs, and elephant and all, what they do? Ear pinna, what is the function of ear pinna? Let me see. Other animals it's working, right? So what is its function then in other animals? In human body, these are non-functional. They are just doing nothing. What about the other animals? If they are functioning, yeah, they move towards the direction of sound. Means they recognize the sound actually. The animals like cats, dogs, and you would have seen the animals like elephant. They'll be moving their ears, right, like this. They normally will be like a radar. It is like you can see any cats and dogs which are sleeping. No, when they're sleeping, you can see they're not sleeping fully 100%. They'll be slowly sleeping, and in between their ears will be like this, keep moving. You've seen that? That is like a radar. It is working and helping for the identification of source of sound, right? This is the function. But in humans, independently the ear pinna will not move. They will have to move. You have to move around them, right? Otherwise they will not move. So they are called vestigial organs. So one you said appendix, one you said ear pinna. Any other such vestigial organs humans have? Tailbones. What do we call tailbones? Tailbone, you tell me. Coccyx. Very good, Napita. Coccyx. And another one, Kushi said wisdom tooth. Very good. Yeah, both of you are highly competitive. So wisdom tooth also is a vestigial organ in humans. Vestigial organ. Why vestigial organ? Why wisdom tooth is vestigial organ? I have got vestigial, the wisdom tooth. Why it's called vestigial organ? Any idea? If you know, you tell me. What is the use? What is the use? Why do we call the wisdom tooth also as a vestigial organ? Any idea? Yeah? You can write one line and send me. Why the wisdom tooth is called as a vestigial organ in humans? Will it not take part in chewing or mastication? Okay, listen. Actually, if it's a wisdom tooth is a vestigial organ, it is not true. Recently, it has become vestigial organ. You should know it. The reason is the earlier time, like little older generation, your grannies and grandpa's time, we had a big jaw. This is a huge lower jaw and upper jaw. This used to be very big, huge. But as the time progressed, what happened is the skull size is decreasing. Skull is becoming smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller. Then there is no place for the wisdom tooth to be present. Although it happens, it will appear, it has no place here because it is almost here inside the bone here. Therefore, wisdom tooth is non-functional. Although it is produced, so many times doctors have to operate and remove it because it's no way working now. Right? Therefore, we call it as a vestigial organ. It is non-functional organ. Is it clear for you? Is it clear to you? Tanuj is saying wisdom tooth. Anybody? Yeah, you got it. Fine. Now, anything else other than this? You said appendix, you said ear pinna, you said wisdom tooth, you said coccyx. 4 you said. Actually, in humans, yes, very good. Yeah, Napita, you are very intelligent here. Third eyelid, right? Third eyelid is present in the corner of our every eyes, right? Here you get the pink one. Na? This is third eyelid, right? You can make out here. This is the third eyelid. What is its biological name actually? Third eyelid's biological name. Third eyelid is a common name. What it will do in other animals? Third eyelid. That's what is it? It's doing in other animals. Like cats and dogs also is present. What will it do? Semilunar fold is okay. We call it as. I'll write it. I'll write it and show you. What is that called as? It is called as plicae semilunaris. See, I'm talking about certain wisdom. What are those? Vestigial organs. vestigial organs. Okay, and now we are talking about the third eyelid. Third eyelid, we call it as, what do we call it? Important one. The third eyelid, we refer it as plicae semilunaris. Plicae semilunaris. Okay, this is called plicae semilunaris, right? This is called the third eyelid in humans, which is the vestigial organ. In other animals, dogs and cats and all, you could have observed that it's not nectinating. Yeah, almost like that. Third eyelid, it will close from internal. Animals, you can see, it is closing internally. One membrane will be there. It will close like this. Whenever it opens, it will just open like this, right? So that's in animals it happens. In humans, it is non-functional. Okay. So it is an additional protective layer. For not protective, it helps in vision for their night vision. Even it helps in night vision. Okay. Actually, you must know one thing. Humans are called as the mobile museums of vestigial organ. Mobile museum, okay? So many vestigial organs we have got in human body, right? So starting from ear pinna, wisdom tooth, the third eyelid or nictinating membrane, as you said, nictinating membrane, then coccyx. Anything else? We call it as a vestigial organ. Other than this, what is Palmaris longus? I didn't get it. Toes. Toes, oh my god. Toes we require, beta. Tonsils. No, tonsils are the very useful organs. Collarbone also is very useful. Arey beta, don't say whatever you remember. Then one day you will tell brain also. Not that way. Listen, I'll explain you. What are the things? Third eyelid I said. Then ear pinna we talked. Ear pinna. Third one, wisdom tooth you said. Tooth. Then fourth one we said coccyx. Fifth one is appendix. Okay. Then what else you said? Yeah, these are the things you told, right? Apart from that, one more important part is sixth one, mammary glands in men. Mammary glands in males. Males will never feed the baby, right? They don't have to have mammary glands, but they will have mammary glands. It is a vestigial organ. Then another one is body hairs in humans. Body hairs are no function, right? We have all cloth and all everything. If you feel cold, you are putting it. If you don't want, then you put one thin one. All those things we are evolved, very much evolved. Therefore, we don't want any body hairs, but still we have body hairs. But if you think of bear and all, bear, they require hair, right? They want it. They will have it. But for us, hair is not. No, dear, pineal gland in the forehead. Forehead is not. A type of muscle in the hand in Palmaris longus. It is absent in 10% of men and does not affect by its presence or absence. This I have to check it, ma Kushi. I will check it and let you know. Okay, good. You are giving me good information. I'll just check it. Palmaris longus. Okay, I will note it down somewhere and I will remember and read it. Palmaris longus. Right? Fine. Thank you. Pineal gland is not a vestigial organ, Kritika. Pineal gland is required. It controls the sleep-wake cycle in human beings. Okay. Now, see, so many things I told. Did you note it down? All of them? Did you note them down? Okay. Done. Fine. So, as I told you, humans are called what? Mobile museums of vestigial organs. So many vestigial organs we have got humans. Right? That's why they are called mobile museums of vestigial organs. Okay. Now, we'll talk about the digestive system. Structure I'll give you. All the structures I'm just giving you one outlook so that you can connect that to the regular subject. Okay. Let's now talk about the digestive system in humans. And you people have to label that and tell me. Okay. Labeling I want. You people have to explain me the labels. But whenever you are labeling, you may name it as 1 is this, 2 is this, and all. Right? So let me draw a digestive system domain. Digestive system. Okay? In humans. Okay? So what are the parts of digestive system? Observe now. I'll just draw it. Okay? Human face. Draw it. Learn drawing also human face, because it's very important for you to understand how to draw it. And here is the nasal tract. Here is the oral tract. They are all joining. Here is the pharynx. First part is the larynx. The back portion is the esophagus. Here is the man, body of the man. You have to write properly how it will look like. Okay. Then here is his chest area. So esophagus have to come till chest. It will cross the chest. It's a tube-like structure. It will cross the chest. It will not be having anything inside the chest. When it crosses the diaphragm, here is the stomach area. Okay. Then stomach will lead to the small intestine. Small intestine leads to the large intestine. Okay. Then I am drawing the largest. I think I have got less place here. I will draw it the other side also. I will draw another diagram over here, so that I will draw it from the top. Okay. I will draw a little smaller so I can accommodate the whole man. Okay. Right. So let me accommodate the full person, because there is no place over there. That's the reason I am just shifting the place. This is the chest of the person. This is the body. Okay, let me draw him up to his abdomen area. So nasal tract, oral cavity, larynx, esophagus. Up to chest area you have esophagus. That is actually diaphragm area. Here is our stomach. Stomach leading to small intestine. Small intestine will enter into the large intestine. Arms of large intestine. Large intestine, first portion is like this, swollen. Here is the small intestines. Other part entering here. Okay. You can also draw it whenever, because the drawing is very important in your PU. First PUC we have it. So let us draw also. Along with me, you can draw it. Okay. And here it's going to join the large intestine at one particular area. It's going to join. Here we have appendix. Here is the cecum area. And here we have the large intestines, sigmoid curve. Here is the rectum. And we have the anus here. This is the overall structure of human digestive system. Okay. So let me ask you the labelings. Okay, this is the first part. And I will draw the gland also here. The first gland I will be drawing here. This is the liver. This is the liver. This has the duct with the gland over here. This duct will open along with the pancreatic duct. The pancreatic duct. Both of them will join and open in the small intestine. Okay, this is the portion, right? Let me talk about the organs, parts. So this is the first area. We call it as what? This is the area where we have an epiglottis here. The opening of this is one opening of the nasal tract. It is number 2. This is the opening of the esophagus, number 3. Opening of the respiratory tract, number 4. I'm mixing all of them. Then the conical projection where both of them they meet. This is number 3, this is number 4, this is number 5. In the mouth only I am labeling so many things. Okay. Then this is 6. You know 6 all of you. Then this is the stomach. Okay. This is 7. The known things let us not discuss much. Those who don't know only will discuss. Okay. Remaining I'll write. Those parts I'll write it off. Okay. This is esophagus. Esophagus. This is stomach. Okay. 5. This is 6th I'm talking about. And this here is a small gland like structure. This is 7. This is 8. This is 9. This is 10 plus 11. Two things are there. 10 and 11. Here is 12th. You can see I think 12th. And the first part of the large intestine is swollen. This is 13th portion. 13th part. Then this is the colon, large intestine. Colon. This is the rectum. This is the external opening, anus. Okay. Then you people have to label them. Okay. So these are going to erase. Label 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all of them. Whichever I have labeled and asked you to write. You have to write their names. Let me check how many of you are able to write them. Okay. First is buccal cavity. Okay, buccal cavity is right or oral cavity is right. Napita is saying. Number two, you should start from 1 to only. Don't directly jump to 10. Second one, now 1 is over. Oral cavity, buccal cavity is same. Okay, Napita, Spandana, both are same. Buccal cavity and then oral cavity. What is the second one? Number 2. Any idea? Number 2, nasal cavity. Allah, no. Nasal cavity comes in the nasal tract inside. That's nasal tract. Okay, there no upper part. Whatever I am writing here. This portion, right? This is nasal tract. Nasal canal. Nasal cavity is not second one. Opening of the nasal canal into the buccal cavity. That's what I've labeled. See, opening of the nasal canal into the buccal cavity is what? Or into the pharynx. 3 is pharynx. Not 3. So 5 is pharynx. 5 is pharynx. It is opening in the pharynx. What do we call that? That's what I will do. Details I will explain. Details of that. Okay. Number 3, what we have, this is number 2. This is the pharynx, right? This I told you, this is a pharynx area where both nasal tract and digestive tract combine. Here is the opening of the nasal tract into the pharynx. We call this as nasopharynx. Okay, it's called nasopharynx. Then 5 I told. Where is 4? 4, what is this 4? It is the opening of the pharynx into the larynx. What do we call it? Pharynx into larynx. What do we call it? Any idea? Oropharynx enters the oral cavity, oral tract. Oral cavity, see this oral cavity which is entering into this, right? See, this is the pharynx. This whole portion is pharynx, right? Nasopharynx, this is oropharynx, oral cavity in the pharynx. This is, here is the larynx. We call fourth one is laryngopharynx. Laryngopharynx. Did you understand this? Laryngopharynx. Because pharynx has so many openings, inlets and outlets. One is inlet is nasopharynx from the nasal tract, oropharynx from the oral tract. This is output, outlet. One is from the pharynx into the larynx. It's called laryngopharynx. 1, 3, 1. Number 3. What is 3? Number 3. Number 3 is Esophagus. Number 3 is esophagus or oropharynx is this one. This is what esophagus. Esophagus will go to esophagus. Okay, got it. Now those openings are there. No? They are called in a different way because if you keep pharynx as a part and explain it, then we call the oropharynx, esopharynx. Okay. Now, if you talk about the opening of the digestive tract from the pharynx, we call it as a gullet. Opening of the respiratory tract is called as the glottis. Okay, and in between you have a epiglottis. Okay, esophagus are labeled and stomach have labeled. Then I have told sixth number. Number 6 is what? Number 6 is, I think you can understand. Number 6 is liver. Very good. Number 6 is liver. Number 7 is a small part. I'll just enlarge and show you. If it is not very clear, I will show you this 7th part over here. Imagine, just observe here. This is stomach. Okay, this is stomach. It is the small intestines part. Here is our liver. Along with the pancreas, it is coming here. Together they open over here. Okay. Here is the liver. Suppose you take the liver out and observe. It will be like this. Okay. This is esophagus coming. Here is our liver. And liver will have the duct. This I am talking about. I am talking about this where the secretions of the liver are stored. Right? This I will label as 6th one. 7th I will label this one. This is 7. Okay? 7. 7 I hope you can label it. Tell me. Let me see what is 7. Number 7 is gallbladder. Very good, children. It's a gallbladder. Tanuj and Gnapita and all saying gallbladder. It's right. Now, the function of gallbladder, do you know that? What is the function of gallbladder? G-A-double-L. G with a G-A-double-L. Gallbladder. Okay, let me know. What is the function of liver? Then we'll go to gallbladder. Liver function. It secretes bile. Okay. As you are asking, you are saying bile. I would like to ask you, what is the bile? What are the contents of bile? What do you mean by bile? What it has in it? Bile has what? It produces bile juice, bile. That's all. That's right. Good. Somebody is saying stores the bile juice is correct. Nabita is saying dead red blood cells. What they do? Dead blood cells. Good. Khushi is saying very good, ma. All of you are very intelligent. Bilirubin and bilirubinin. It will produce bile juice contain bilirubin and bilirubinin is right. But what is the bilirubin, bilirubinin? How are they formed? Any idea? What is their use? What is their color? Bilirubin, bilirubinin color, you know. Nabita, I didn't understand dead blood cells, red blood cells. It's yellow color. Nabita, I have to tell me now. What that dead red blood cells you have said? I want to know about that. Okay. Okay. Now listen. This is yellow color. Fine. Good. Yellow and yellowish green color. What is the function of this? Bilirubin is formed by the dead RBC. Not bilirubin actually, Nabita. The bilirubin, bilirubinin both are formed by the dead RBCs hemoglobin. Broken hemoglobin. Actually, they are pigments. They are the RBC will die where? Where RBC will get killed? RBC will die somewhere else, not in the liver. RBC's age is how much? What is the age of RBC? Normal RBC age. ಎಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡದಿದೆ ಎಷ್ಟು age? What is the age of it? 120 days. After 120 days, where it will die? It will die in certain area. It will die somewhere. It will get killed. Where? Spleen. So spleen is behind the stomach. Spleen is a large gland. It is a large gland where it is dead. RBC cells will die there. Okay. After they are dead, The RBC, from RBC hemoglobin comes out. That hemoglobin enters the liver, and in liver it will break down into bilirubin and biliverdin. Did you understand? Did you understand this? Okay, fine. So bilirubin, biliverdin is formed by the broken RBCs. So what is the function of bile juice then? You said bilirubin, biliverdin. What is the use of bilirubin, biliverdin? Why are they formed? No, Gnapita, not for the emulsification of fats. Not for absorption of fat. No. I will tell you. First, I'll try with you how much you know it. Okay? Listen. Okay. Let me give you. Bile contain two things actually. Observe now. Bile contain the bile pigments first. Bile pigments you already know. They are bilirubin and biliverdin. And biliverdin. Then bile salts also are there. We produce certain type of salts. Bile salts we call them as. They are of two types. Sodium glycocholate and sodium taurocholate. These are the two salts present in the bile juice. They are called the bile salts. These take part in the emulsification of fats. Did you follow it? So bile salts help in emulsification of fats. The complete bile juice is taking part in basic condition, because whenever food comes from the stomach, right, when it enters the small intestine, it will be highly acidic. Stomach is containing a lot of hydrochloric acid. Food will be highly acidic. If it comes as it is, this part may get burnt. Therefore, bile juice, when it is released, it's very much basic pH, alkaline pH. It will reduce the acidity of chyme. Acidity of chyme, we call it. Chyme is the digested food after digestion in stomach. Okay, got it? That's about the liver. Liver will produce bile salts and bile pigments. Now I told about the bile salts. What are the bile salts? Bile salts are named, no? Write them. Sodium glycocholate and sodium taurocholate. They take part in emulsification of fats. Fine. What do you mean by emulsification of fats? Did you understand what is emulsification of fats? Did you understand emulsification? Fat breaking is not exactly correct word. Anything else? If others don't answer, I'll take this. Okay, Nandita Matha is saying breaking. Larger fat globules are broken to smaller, right, Dhatri? Larger fat globules are broken down to smaller fat droplets. They're called micelles. Therefore, it is called emulsification of fat. Okay, it's actually in chemistry, if you learn, we call it as saponification. That is formation of soaps and detergents. Same thing happens. How they prepare soap and detergent is take the coconut oil, they put some alkali in that, right? Saponification is done. Same thing happens. The alkaline media will be provided where the fats are broken down into small globules or the micelles. We call it as a emulsification of fats. Once they are broken into smaller globules, then they have more surface area. So there is more activity available. It is not digestion of fat. It is only helping for digestion of fats. Did you follow this? That's about the emulsification of fats. But till now, you didn't tell me the function of bile salts. Bile pigments. Bile salts we discussed right now. Tell me the functions of bile salts. No, bile pigments. Bile salts, you explain me now. Tell me now, what is the use of those pigments, bilirubin and biliverdin? Any idea? Idea? Do you have it? Anybody? Nobody? Let me check. You don't know means don't. You said don't know. No issues. I'll explain you. But if you keep quiet, I think that you are typing. Anyone knows it? Hello, don't know. No idea, not sure. Not sure means something you are having idea. Is it not, Napita? Napita is saying something, no idea. Some not sure. What is not sure? Something must be known to you, no? Then you say it is not sure. Okay, listen. Listen. Bile pigments, that is bilirubin and biliverdin, they help in providing the yellow color to the fecus or fecal matter. Fecal matter get somewhat yellowish in color because of the pigments, bile pigments. Okay, actually, this is one important thing they do it when the person is not having some problems in digestive tract. They ask you to test your stools, right? You have to check your fecal matter. If it doesn't have the proper color, sometimes it is black colored, then it simply indicates that liver is not properly functioning. Do you understand this? So because nobody can immediately see the liver and observe. Doctors cannot see, they cannot see what is happening inside your body, right? Suppose they test your stools and stool is not having that particular golden brown or yellowish color, then something is wrong with your liver. That way it is, right? So all our tests are done based on what we are exudations are happening. One is saliva, next is blood, next is urine, next is fecal matter. These are the things they'll take up and they check it. So if the yellow coloration is not properly, sometimes it may be whitish color, the fecal matter. See, always in biology, one thing I'll tell you, it's a very important thing you have to know. At least our own body, we should not feel hesitation to check your any organ parts and other things. Okay, at least that you should be firm, right? If you pass the fecus, you have to check how, what is its color, what is its texture, everything. Observe. If it are not well, you are not well. And I'm sorry, it's commonly known to everybody. Most of us will do it. Suppose we are not well and all, we'll be observing. Suppose you are having fever and all, urine become more yellow color, right? You would have observed that, right? So these things you should watch it properly. Suppose you have throat infection, if you spit, you may get some blood cells. You should watch all that, right? That helps the doctors to identify what has happened to you rather than going there in front of doctor and sitting like nothing I know. Doctors will ask me, what do you have? I have everything, every problem I have, sir. Most of the time I've seen people saying that. They ask you whether you have headache, they say, I have headache, I have got neck ache, I have got the body pain, everything they will say. Maybe thinking that doctor will get very serious about them, right? Don't think like that, right? If you get some problem, the day one you just check what is happening. Something is wrong with you. Check it, write somewhere in one diary you keep it, right there. Okay, today I have got some swollen tonsils. That's what you have to write. And if it is followed by some kind of problem in swallowing, you write that. Those will help you to analyze when you get it next time, right? So don't have to be every time for smaller thing rushing to the hospital, right? Right now in the corona time and all, you don't neglect your respiratory problems, right? Because anything connected with the cold, cough, or sore throat, running nose and all, you don't have to be negligible. Right now it is a very problematic situation happening around. So this is the time where you should not do anything on your own, but as much as possible for small things, don't rush to the hospital, because a lot of corona patients are there. Although you don't have, you may catch it, right? So as much as possible, stay at home, don't go anywhere, right? Just I was watching some of the news, some of the people were saying that some boys and all, they were doing wheeling somewhere near airport road and they got killed. 3 of them, they're dead, right? So why? Because these people think that okay, now there is a holiday for them. It's not a holiday, yeah, it is an emergency. It's a medical emergency. There is a pandemic outside your house. Don't go out. This is not just for somebody's sake. It's like some, no, our Pradhan Mantri don't want you to sit at home and I'll take rest and Allah. There is something wrong thing are happening outside. There's everywhere virus is there. Don't take your body outside. It's the most important thing. You should never move out. It's not a holiday for you. It's not a vacation. Don't go around for vacational. No vacation. Normally people think no holiday, picnic and all. Don't do that. This is the time. Sit at home. What is that? Why are you sitting still at home? Is because of this something is happening outside. We have no much medical equipments. We don't have much medical facilities. We have only one thing is sitting at home, protecting yourself from the virus. Do that. Don't do anything else outside. There is nobody calling you outside. As in, people still think that okay, your friends call, okay, come, we'll go outside and all, we'll do this or go mall and all. Don't do that. Right? Only if it is an emergency, no other go, then you have to go. Otherwise, don't go. Right? So understand this. If you get any problem, you write it down somewhere. Right? That's what I told. No, these are the agencies you have to check it. Your own fecal matter, your own urine color and all. It's not wrong to check it. Right? So biologically, these are all not wrong things. Right? Now, I told you that urine will get light yellowish color, hair color, and fecal matter gets dark yellowish color. This explains that bilirubin and biliverdin are produced normal, properly. Liver is functioning properly. Imagine this is how you have to identify your internal organs. You can't go to internal organs and check how are they. Every time you can't take a biopsy and do it. That's done in the hospital. Don't go till that. Right now, you are healthy, you are happy, right? But these things and all, you keep watching your own thing. Okay, today I got some headache. Why I got headache and all? Just go back. What I ate and what were my activities? Why I got this? All those things. You have to roll back because of flashback. Then you will understand. Okay, because of this I got it. Okay, next time you don't do such mistakes, right? Studying biology and doing all wrong things is waste of studying. Okay, ultimately education will have to make you a good healthy citizen, right? You should, after reading all these things, you talk all nonsense and talk very bad abusing words and all, then you are not educated man, right? So as I told you, education should make you somewhat reformed, transformations in you, right? After transformation, you should look mature. You should not remain as the same child, right? Saying all that, no. If at all people are saying not to go out, I will go, I'm a Superman. Then they are waste person, right? So don't do that. Okay. Now I told you bile juice, bile pigments help in providing color to the fecal matter as well as they give color to the urine also. Urine also will be light hay colored, yellowish colored because of the bilirubin and biliverdin. Did you understand about the liver? Now, let's move on to the next portion. I told you this is gallbladder. Seventh portion I told you gallbladder. As you rightly said, it will store the bile juice produced by the liver. It will store here. Whenever it is required, it will release little by little. That is how this will be functioning. Right? Understand that gallbladder is storing the bile juice. Okay? Now, as it goes down, it will combine with the pancreatic duct and form a duct called as hepatopancreatic duct. So, I showed here. Can you make out here? This portion where this is called the bile duct. Okay? This is bile duct. And this is the pancreatic duct. This is a pancreatic duct. Together they open. Here, this is a pancreatic duct. Together they form one common duct. No? This is called hepatopancreatic duct. Hepatopancreatic duct. They open into number 9. What is number 9? Let me see. You write. What is number 9? Yeah, it should be first part of the small intestine. What is the first part of the small intestine called? Yes, people are right. It's called duodenum. Napita is right. Napita, you're right. It's duodenum. This is duodenum, not jejunum. Somebody is written jejunum. No, Spandana, it is not jejunum. It's duodenum. Okay, done. Okay, duodenum is the first part of small intestine. Then I written here 10 and 11. What is 10? What is 11? What is 10 and 1? What is 11? Any idea? 10 and 11? 10 is jejunum, very good. 11 is ileum, correct. So together duodenum, jejunum, ileum form small intestine. Good, that's right. Then ileum opens into the large intestine's first part. What is 12th part? Number 12. It is appendix. What is the full name of appendix? Total name. Full name of appendix? It's called vermiform appendix. This is called vermiform appendix. That is the 12th number. Then 13th is this first part of the large intestine, which is swollen. What is that called? Very good, Napita. It is cecum. Cecum is the first part of swollen large intestine. Okay, good. Then it is a ascending limb, transverse limb, descending limb, colon, the last sigmoid colon, and this is rectum and anus. Good. Now, why there is disease called appendicitis? Let's talk about that. Why you get something called as appendicitis? You know it. There is a swollen appendix. Swollen appendix. It is the structure, swollen appendix. Why it is caused? Why anybody gets appendicitis? Kushi is right. But why do you get the appendicitis? Due to the accumulation of food in it. Why does it accumulate? It can go further. Why will it accumulate there? That's the main question. Why will food accumulate in the appendix area? Any idea? Okay, let me give you one clue. Blockage lining of appendix. Why blockage happens? Who will block it? Okay, let me explain you. Listen. Don't write. Don't imagine anything. First thing, do you know something about constipation? You know something about constipation? Constipation? What is it? Have you heard about constipation? Yeah. Others know what is constipation? Napita knows. Tell me what it is. Don't say yes. What is it? Don't just say yes. What is constipation? Many people will get a constipation. What is constipation? Okay. So if you know, fine. Otherwise, let me explain you. Constipation is inability of a person to pass the fecal matter. Right? It is time to time. Difficulty in passing fecus is correct. Good, Kushi. Inability to pass the fecal matter for a long time. You may not pass the fecal matter. Why this happens? Why a person gets constipation? Why he cannot pass the fecal matter? Any idea? Many will get it. A lot of people have constipation in Bangalore. Not only Bangalore, a lot of large big cities, they have constipation problems. What is constipation? Why it happens? What is improper food? I don't understand improper food. What is that improper food you are eating? Okay, listen. Improper food, not correct one. Listen. First thing, you are not consuming roughage in your food. What is roughage? The fibrous food. Your food doesn't contain any fibers. Okay? We do not eat enough fibers, is right. Right? Second is, what is that you are consuming then? You are consuming all those things which are refined things, like maida. Maida and maida products you are consuming. Good, very good, ma. Sakshi said it. Maida contained food. Maida containing food. How many of you are liking those things like noodles and pizzas and burgers? You will all eat, right? They contain only maida. You know that. So most of the young children are now prone to constipation. Do you know that? Most of the young children, because they don't like regular food only. Roti, chapatis, rice, and vegetables. Hardly people will eat. Children are from the beginning. You are also now kids only. No, I seen like you people. I want this only. I want noodles only. Morning, evening, night, and all. Noodles, noodles, noodles. Or you want pizza. So right now you may not have the problem. It will continuously for a long time. It happens. You will get constipation here. So the whole aim of learning digestion is to have a good food, right food. Your food should contain roughage, means daily minimum 1 carrot, 1 radish you should have it. Without fail, 1 carrot, 1 radish, somehow in any form you eat it, right? That is the one which can make your alimentary canal food will be moving. Undigested food will move, undigested fecal matter will move. Else, it's like you imagine there is a pipe here, something is stuck to the internal portions. Okay, imagine this is the one, something is stuck inside. Then how to clean it? You have to put one rough thing and clean it like this, right? Same thing happens our intestine. It will be having internal lock. The whole of internal portion will be bound by this maida. And if you are not able to pass the fecal matter time to time, this start getting infected by certain pathogenic bacteria, due to which you will get a kind of bad smell. Along with that, the food will start getting stuck in this portion. What is this portion? This is the appendix. Here it will be stuck. Food will be moving here, it gets stuck. Once it gets stuck, infection increases. This will get swollen. This is called appendicitis. Remember, these are bacteria multiplies rapidly, hence the appendix becomes swollen. This is called appendicitis. Good, ma. Napita, you are right. But what is the cause? You remember first. What is the cause for constipation that causes appendix? Is your refined flour you are eating. You are eating only maida and maida products. Next is less consumption of water. Next is stagnant activity. No activities of the body. Sitting here, going, sleeping, again eating, sleeping. No activities inside the house also you can move around, no? Because I've seen people are saying lockdown happened, I can't go out. Don't go out. If you have a house, hall, kitchen and all, roam around it there only. Movement, so that alimentary cannot be moving in and out. It will be having contraction, relaxation. Then only food will move, right? So one of them is your food habits having no fibers. Next is your food is having more of refined things, refined flour, and no activities, no water content. These all the things are the recipes to get appendicitis. Did you get it? So now tell me what you want to promise for your food. Now on, you are going to change your diet. What you will do? What you will eat? What you will stop eating first thing? Stop eating all maida products, right? And start eating all the no eating food containing refined flour. Fibrous food. What is that? Give me example for fibrous food. What is that? Apple. Napita, all the time apple will not work due to the infections. Add roughage in our meals. Beans, leafy vegetables, good. Leafy vegetables, green vegetables, you should eat because the stem will be having a lot of fibers. And leaf will be having a lot of fibers. As much as possible, you eat such things. And carrot and radish are the roots. Roots are having a lot of fibers. Corn is not working, dear Kushi. Corn also is much of carb only. It's a carbohydrate. No? Radish, carrots, beetroot, sweet potatoes. You have all those things. No? You will get it. If you are not getting all of them, you just put beans, greens and all. You just cut them. Anyway, you are sitting at home. Do all these activities. Cut and make big beans, vegetables. Boil them lightly. Put some salt. Sit and eat only beans. That's a very good thing. Okay. Beans is also very good because it has proteins, it has fibers, it has all the nutrients in that. Right? Beans, you can have it. Then whole grains, you are good. Whole grains in the sense, the wheat grain and complete whole grains, millets. Okay, you are all saying it to me or you are practicing it? Or you are just answering for the sake of answering, you are doing it, or you are practicing? If not, you have practiced till now, you are going to practice now, right? Practicing, ma'am. Okay, good. Now means you are very healthy at digestive system. Good, Napita. What about others who still like from now on? Just today I had ma'am for lunch. Very good, ma'am. But one thing I'm telling you, don't eat little bit, this much only beans. No. One roti you take, full so much, what we call no? 250 grams of beans you should only eat. That's the very best way. Not having 2, 3, I ate some vegetables. No. Mom doesn't give you a choice. That's good actually. Mom is doing best thing. She will not give you a choice. She will ask you to eat vegetables. You should eat vegetables. Good. Now on, you can change your food if at all you are not eating till now. Okay. You will all include the roughage in your food. Drink lots of water. Right. And move around in the house itself. Don't roam around outside. Move around and at least see to it that your internal organs are moving. That at least they are getting some work. Okay. So that is appendicitis. Then appendicitis, sometimes what happens if you break open and all the fluids will be released in the body cavity. That's more dangerous. It's a deadly disease. When the appendix opens up inside, that's more deadly, right? Now, apart from that, constipation leads to some more problems. See, as it is just to move, look at this here. The cecum is, this is the appendix, right? Cecum is swollen portion. Okay, this is the large intestine. Cecum is like this, swollen. Somewhat like this. Okay. Food will come here and it gets stuck in this also. Cecum, it has to go upwards. Huh? Here food will come from small intestine, it has to go upward direction. This requires fibers again. Here it has to go up. Moreover, cecum we can store a lot of food here. Stuck in here happens in the cecum, right? It's going up and moving this way. It takes major work. There you require lots of water, lots of fibers, lots of roughage should be there in your food. Then only it can move around. Otherwise, you will get constipation problems. So when it goes here in the large intestine, the last portion, the rectum. The rectal portion will have number of rectal sphincters. These are all rectal sphincters. Okay, there are muscular sphincters. Here that undigested food will be stored here. This is the fecus to be adjusted, right? The feces has to be adjusted if it depends upon the involuntary activity. It should happen on its own, right? That time contraction happens of these muscles and this will be adjusted out, and as fecal matter will be adjusted. Defecation we call it. This is called the defecation. Fecal matter thrown from the anus to outside. But here also there are some problems. What is the problem? If you have already constipation, here also the food get constipated, it cannot move with a normal contraction. What happens is it will get stuck in the rectal area. So although it tries to contract, fecal matter will not get out. That is why person has to pressurize while defecating. So if he pressurizes, then with a lot of difficulty fecal matter is adjusted. Sometimes what happens here, the blood vessel present over here, the breakdown and bleeding will start happening. The anal area, there will be rectum. Rectum will not get ruptured so easily. Blood vessels will get ruptured near this. Rectal sphincters, the blood vessels get ruptured and bleeding starts. This is called the piles. This is called bleeding piles. Piles starts, right? So once anybody gets piles, it's like a hell. It's like hell, literal. Because piles is something where fecal matter will not pass. Every time the person try to pass the fecal matter, he starts bleeding. Once bleeding happens, the sphincters, rectal sphincters get totally hemorrhoid. The full blood vessels will be opened up there. The part gets swollen. Infection starts over there. Next, you don't dare to pass the fecal matter. See how horrible is this? I've seen people, a lot of people suffering from piles is not such a simple disease. It's a real problematic disease. So piles will, for a long time, if it happens next time, he don't want to pass the fecal matter here. Right? Sometimes what happens, these rectal sphincters get swollen up, they come out and they block the anus like this. Rectal sphincter will come out like this. This is called the fistula. You heard about piles and fistula? They are real problematic things. So once a person gets piles, it's like hell. For the life, he has to bear with that. Nowadays, although they do piles operation, that cannot be done again and again. So once it goes to piles and it's gone case. You will have to immediately think that you have to change, because once you already passed fecal matter, it has infection happen, it start paining. Anytime you try to pass the fecal matter, there will be paining. Then the person will stop eating. And moreover, if the fistula, like when outgrowth has happened like this, how I showed you in this, right here, then he can't have the proper position of walking also. These are all very problematic diseases. So best simple thing is how to avoid all this. You can tell me how to avoid all these big problems. Actually, these are happening, burning problems in most of the people. You know that. A lot of people suffer from piles and fistula. Do you know anybody suffering from that? And most of the time, they will not tell you that I got piles and all. Right? It's very difficult to tell them. Right? So, you have seen anybody suffering from piles? Yeah? No. You have not seen. Good, ma. You people are all, you meet very healthy people. Actually speaking, one more thing I'll tell you. Most of the people will not discuss about piles with you. Okay? Because I'm telling you this openly. This will not be so easy to tell anybody. If they say they have piles, you will be feeling like laughing, but they have really hell of pain, right? So those, so you might not have seen, but people will suffer. And lot of, I'll tell you, a lot of my students who are doctors, they say that almost 70% people in city have got piles, right? 70% one also you didn't meet, I don't know. Anyway, a lot of people, yes. It can be overcome by small surgeries and all, they do it. Otherwise also you have to change your food habits. Good. Sakshi is saying right. Many people will have it, they will not tell anybody, right? Because it's a real problematic thing. So piles and fistula are the most common diseases in this, right? So that's about the digestive system. Okay. Now we will move on to the other things. Okay. That's about the circulation. That day I stopped half the way. I'll continue with the circulation. Is it fine? Right? Still we have how long? How much time? Almost 15 minutes, right? Okay, we will do circulation again. Then again, how much we stop tomorrow, you let me know so that I can continue with the circulation and explain. Okay? Did you understand digestion? So, you should tell me now, you are going to change your diet. Okay, what all your diet you will continue with? Suppose you are having chapati, one chapati with almost 250 grams of vegetables. Vegetable is not potato all the time. Potato will also be just starch. Have the food which is having roughage, I don't know, carrot bhaji, radish. Just make radish, just make it into grated, put it in little curds, little salt. You can eat it along with it's like masur bhaji they call it. You can eat like that. Green leaves. Green leaves in the sense you can have palak and you can have the methi and all those things, right? You can start, but green leaves I see a lot of people here in Bangalore when they are buying, they'll buy one bundle of that. Whole house people will eat it. How much you'll get? This much only. I'm saying 2-3 bundles you have to buy. Make whole thing one only. Right, so much of methi you get it. Put some of the onions and make vegetable. You should have this much. Okay, very good. That's good, ma. Mummy is very much knowing subject. She works as Nabita is saying. My mom does it. What she does? Is she a doctor or something? She's a housewife, but then very good. Then she's very intelligent. She has grown you very well, and that's the right thing, right? You people also have to have education about that, because ultimately, learning, understanding, education means you should be healthy and good. Mixed leafy vegetables curry is good, but that's what I'm telling you. You should get, each one should get so much or so much of vegetables, right? That's how you should make your food. Okay, methi dal and all, very good. So you will eat that. Ma'am, at house mommy will be preparing, you say I don't like this, I don't like that, I want the noodles, I want this pizza and all. I seen children doing that. They'll be saying everybody is preparing, everybody is eating quietly. You people say I don't like this, you prepare something for me separate. Nowadays children are very much pampered. Whatever you say, your mommy will prepare and give you. So noodles and all, just having maida, you will eat, it will really affect your health. Good, good, good. No way, ma'am. That's nice. So good, mommy, and good. You people are getting good knowledge about that subject. Also is done, and your health is also maintained. If the kids eat onions, why they can't speak properly? What do you mean by that? I didn't understand. Channa Basappa Patel. What is that? If kids eat onions, why they can't speak properly? What do you mean by that? I don't understand. Good. Kushi, you are right. It doesn't happen in a strict military family. That's right. Channabasappa, I didn't understand here. No way. By eating onions, nobody will stumble. Nothing happens. Onions are good for health. They will improve your immunity. Nothing happens. Onions, not eat raw. Make something, salads and all, eat it little bit. Nothing happens to by eating. See, don't put any blame on vegetables. Like I see a lot of people say you don't eat papaya, that will cause some heat and nothing will happen. Eat properly, all balanced way. Not only daily morning, evening, night and all eating onions only. No, it's not good, right? So eat the fried ones, not deep fried ones. Make it in regular vegetables and all bhaji you prepare and eat. Okay. Now we'll talk about the next thing. That's about the circulation. Okay. So this you understood now? Digestive system. I'll give you. Now one more thing I would like to give you. That is about the circulatory system. I'll give you. Already I have given one circulatory system, but still I would like to give you something else in that. Okay. So you know that heart functions like this. This is a human heart, right? Human heart is having a thick wall, and left walls are more thicker than left ones, right ones. This is the left ventricle, this is the left auricle, this is the right ventricle, this is the right auricle. Okay. Now, whenever the blood is circulated, you already know what are the things, right? Here, there will be a major systemic aorta passing out. Systemic aorta, I will be erasing the remaining things. Okay, that takes the blood, oxygenated blood to all body parts. And here is our tricuspid valve, and this is a bicuspid valve. Okay, this is systemic aorta. Then another one originates at the, and it will be having some 3 semilunar valves. And here is our, what do we call it? It is the pulmonary aorta or pulmonary artery. This is a pulmonary aorta, pulmonary artery. This is also lined by, or it is covered by semilunar valves. This will take the blood one to the right side, one to the left side for oxygenation to the lungs. Okay, these are major blood vessels. Then there is inferior vena cava coming from the base, opening in the right auricle. Superior vena cava bringing the deoxygenated blood from upper part, opening in the right auricle. Then this is the, these are the 2 pulmonary veins, 2 from the right side, 2 from the left side. All of them they are opening in the left auricle like this. This is also opening here only. Okay, this is the structure we have done. Okay, this we have already learned. Okay, so now you already have named this in the last class. Let me just check whether you remember it or not. First one, I label this. This is A. Okay, this is B. This is C. And this is the inter D. Then E, F. Let me see A, B, C, D, E, F. You are labeling properly. Channappa, you can answer. A is pulmonary artery. Okay, correct. A is not aorta knapita. A is a pulmonary aorta. Pulmonary aorta or pulmonary artery is different from aorta. B is superior vena cava. Where is B? Yes, it's superior vena cava. Superior vena cava, correct. A is pulmonary artery. It's okay. B, C, ಏನು C ಅಂತ? C is a aortic semilunar valve. Very good, Spandana. Aortic semilunar valve. Where is D? D is interventricular septum. Very good, Channabasappa. Very good. Nicely you told. It is interventricular septum. Next. It's not just septum. Channabasappa said it correct. It is interventricular septum. Between the two ventricles, there is a septum. Interventricular septum. Then E is a tricuspid valve. Okay, correct. F is bicuspid valve. What is the other name for bicuspid valve? Other name for bicuspid valve? Is there any other name for bicuspid valve? Very good, Spandana. It is mitral valve. Mitral valve or mitral valve. Very good. Okay, done then. Okay, we are done. A, B, C, D, E, F, done. Okay. Now I'll ask you something. What is the function of these valves in the heart? What is the use of the valve? Why the valve should be present? They prevent the backflow of blood. That's very good, Napita. They will not allow the blood to move back. That is good one. Now tell me, when the heart sounds are produced, lub dub sounds are there, no? How these heart sounds are produced? How the heart produce lub dub sound? Let me see. How the heart produces the sound? Prevents the backflow of fluid. Swift closure of valves. Good. Swift closure of valves. They produce sound. The first sound, lub, is produced when? When the sound lub is produced. During contraction, no? Closure of what? Closing of bi and tricuspid valves. Very good, man. She is saying correct. Closing of tri and bicuspid valves. Good, good, good. Okay. Then dub is produced when? When sound dub is produced. Anybody? Closure of semilunar valves. Very good. So, dub sound is produced when the semilunar valves get closed. Bi and tricuspid valves closed means whenever the two auricles contract, okay, first thing is auricular contraction, blood will move from auricles to the ventricles. These are opening inwards. The bi and tricuspid valves are opening downwards. Okay, so blood will move from auricle to ventricle. It's going down. Okay, once it is full, then they try to go back because it start contracting. That time they will close. Because these are connected to something like this. Now I will give you some details of that. Some thread-like things are there here. What are these thread-like things? They're connected by a tricuspid valves. Chordae tendineae. Very good, man. Very good. It is chordae. Some of you are saying correctly. And what are these muscles? These muscles are papillary muscles. These are the papillary muscles, and these threads are called as chordae tendineae. Okay, they are going to contract and relax and close and open. They help in closing it. Papillary muscles is correct. Napita papillary muscles is right. So whenever they contract, they pull the valve down so that blood from the auricles move to the ventricles. When the blood is full in ventricle, they relax. The two valves will get closed. So when they are moving like this down, blood is moving down, just like this. So whenever there is blood full, that time what happens? It will try to go back. That time these valves will close. Then blood will hit. That produces first heart sound, lub. Lub is produced when the bi and tricuspid valves close by avoiding backflow of blood from the ventricles back to the auricles. This is the first sound, lub. Okay. Then second thing is duct produced when ventricles contract and blood will flow into the systemic aorta and pulmonary aorta. So blood is flowing like this. Okay. This is going this way. The deoxygenated blood is going this way. So when blood is going again, it tries to come back. That time the semilunar valves get produced. Remember, they produce a second sound, it's a deeper sound that is called the duck. So our heart rhythm is lub, duck, followed by a pause. What is this pause doing here? Again lub, duck, and a pause. What is the meaning of pause? What happens during pause? Lub, duck with a gap. Lub, duck with a gap. That is a called as a, what do we call it? Lub, duck, pause is our heart rhythm. Rhythm of the human heart is lub, duck with a pause. Okay. What is that rhythm doing? What is that pause? Why there is a pause between one lub, duck? Relaxing of all chambers is right. Very good. So relaxing of all chambers will happen. So you can watch these heartbeats using stethoscope very nicely because it has a sound amplifier in that. Okay. Then heart functioning can be studied well using electrocardiogram. ECG you have heard, no? What they do in ECG? Electrocardiogram. What they do in ECG? They check the currents produced by heart currents during auricular and ventricular contractions. What are the heart currents produced? That will be identified by electrocardiogram. Okay, so that we will be doing in the next class. But let us talk about this only. So heart will produce lub, dub, and pause. If imagine there is some different sound, or if these sounds are not proper, what is the meaning? If suppose you are watching somebody's heartbeat, there will be some different sound or very weak sound. What is the meaning of that? If there is any weak sound produced, what might have happened? Or some kind of small sound, in extra sound appears in between. Not blood flow is slow, not what is not functioning properly. Heart sounds are not proper means what is not functioning properly. Okay, listen. If heart sounds are not proper or some other sound is there, that means the valves are defective. These valves are affected. Bi and tricuspid valves or semilunar valves are good, Nandita, good guess. Valves are not functioning. Then what might have happened with the valves? What happens with the valves? Why valves are not functioning? right? So one important defect is valves become narrower, smaller. Instead of closing, they are far away, they cannot close, right? So they are side by side, far away, they are not able to close. The reason this is called the valvular stenosis. Stenosis and valve defects where valves become small. They can't close and open. Why this happens? It is because of certain infection of blood. That is by Streptococcus bacteria. Streptococcus bacteria first causes rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis later leads to valve problems of the heart. Remember, these are very important. And how a person, arthritis patients you see, no? Rheumatoid arthritis is the people will have swollen joints and all. Actually, those bacteria enters our bloodstream through your tonsillitis, tonsils. It would have entered and it would have stayed there, and somewhere they start affecting, they start infecting. That's why Streptococcus bacteria cause valve problems. Valves become shorter, they won't close. That's called the valvular stenosis. We call it the stenosis of valves. Okay, I told you valve problems are of different types. So what are the problems of valves? The valves may have stenosis. Stenosis is reduction of the size of the valves. They fail to close properly. There will be narrowing of valves. Narrow valves. Another one is there that is called as regurgitation of valves. Regurgitation of valves, where the valves get prolapsed, proliferated, they get big. So if this is with stenosis, this becomes small like this. So forget about closing. Blood keeps moving in and out. This is called stenosis. Regurgitation means they get swollen, big. They will not open only. This is called as a valvular regurgitation. So we have two problems: valvular regurgitation and valvular stenosis, which actually causes some problems in some people, where they have to do replace these valves through open heart surgery. They do with open heart surgery, where they take certain artificial membranes and put it, or sometimes they take their skin and graft it, and that they will make valves and they'll replace the defective valves, and they'll have to be given with strong antibiotics. Did you understand valvular stenosis and valvular regurgitation? Did you understand? So due to the valve problems, what happens? The heart sounds are not clear. This we call it as heart murmur. So heart sounds are not proper, and then there will be heart murmuring. Heart murmur. Murmur andre some different sound is heard. This is called the heart murmuring. Did you understand this? Always, if you have ability to check, sometimes heartbeats and all, you can check your parents by keeping your ears on the chest and check their heartbeats and compare that. That will be a homework to you. Check and compare the heartbeats. So next class when I come, I will ask you questions on all these. Okay, make some points and keep it with you. We will discuss those questions and answers. So coming class, when I come tomorrow, I'll give you a small test for you. Okay, you will have to answer immediately. Is it fine? Is that okay? Okay, fine then. It's time up then. You study these. If you don't understand, you can go through directly net and get the information directly from the Google. You can get it. Pub medicines and all, you can get that medical medicine pub anta bartadalla aa site alli nodidre sumar right info Wikipedia ginta jaasti you check it with the pub medicines. Okay, right then. Okay, fine. Meet you tomorrow at 6:30. I think 6:30. No, tomorrow class is 6:30 to 7:45 tomorrow. Okay, see you. Enjoy. Be careful. Don't go outside. Stay at home. Never go out. Okay, see you. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. See you. Bye. Spandana, bye. Napita, bye. Sakshi, bye. Channabasappa, bye, man. Okay, all of you, bye. Have a nice day. Have a good night. Bye, bye. See you. Thank you, dear Napita. Thank you so much. Tanuj is saying bye. Tanuj now only is answering. You should answer also, dear.